Well, folks, today we have some great news when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 due to some new rumors and reports out there, and even some deep analysis by a game developer on all of the capabilities of Nintendo Switch 2. Some of the stuff we're talking about today is in that rumor realm for just more big third-party games coming to Nintendo Switch 2, which is also just super exciting. But we also talk about the power of the system, and yes, folks, even a rumor for an upcoming Nintendo Direct that might have some of you OG Switch owners and honestly future Switch 2 owners pretty excited, and we'll have to speculate on what it all means because it's pretty wild, and it's going to be coming at us fast because this Direct supposedly happens in February. Oh man, we got a lot to get into. I'm so excited. Before we do, we'll put some timestamps down below, of course, so you guys can jump around to these different stories. But setting that aside, we are on our road to 140,000 subscribers, so if you enjoyed all this news on Switch, Switch 2, and all the games and all that, I appreciate if you would just subscribe right here at Nintendo Prime. All right, our first bit of news comes from a well-known leaker and rumor person over the last couple of years in EXTOS1S, putting out some stuff for Nintendo Switch 2. Let's go ahead and head on over to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit for the summary here. And it says, according to a new video by this person, multiple Activision Blizzard King games, aka Microsoft games, are coming to Nintendo Switch 2. Now, some of these we've already heard from Nate the Hate, such as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and Halo the Master Chief Collection, which he believes will be at full price, which is a little disappointing, but I mean, we've seen this with third-party games on Switch already. Diablo 4, which he says is currently scheduled for 2025, according to his sources, so that should be this year. A Call of Duty game, but he doesn't know which one. He speculates it being Black Ops 6 or 2025 Call of Duty or Warzone. Of course, those are like the only really options right now for a new Call of Duty game this year. Fallout 4, which, okay, that feels pretty safe there. I'm kind of surprised not Fallout 76, but hey, maybe down the line. And then Starfield, that's kind of the big one, as that was made as an Xbox Series X and X exclusive game and is still getting ongoing support. That game coming over to Switch 2 would be a welcome sight. Now, other games he has heard coming to Switch 2 are Tekken 8, which, again, this is the second time we have heard about Tekken 8 coming alongside DLC. And then Elden Ring. There it is. Finally, we get our rumor about Elden Ring coming to Nintendo Switch 2. Obviously, we'd like it to be Elden Ring and also Elden Ring Night Rain. We'll wait and see what happens with that and if it's ever day and date. But still pretty exciting stuff. I'm really, a lot of those games are, I guess, some of those are expected. Maybe some of them aren't. But I will say in a general sense that I think we're on to something when we talk about this. Because how do I put this? Let's just put it in this light. Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be getting pretty much everything. And you don't have to take my word for it. How about the words of famed insider PH Brazil? Because he went ahead and put out a video today. And that video today, to me, was extremely telling for multiple reasons. And the reason we have to get into that video is this section we're going to call, Damn, How Powerful is Switch 2? Well, a lot of you guys know about this video. This is a video by, none other than Digital Foundry, who are well known to be like the face of tech analysis in the video game industry. And they talked about Mario Kart 9 and how they're not very impressed with it. And in general, their overall feelings on the Switch 2 reveal seem to be fairly negative, and they seem to be doubting its capabilities. And of course, this isn't new. Digital Foundry's been doing that ever since they made videos about the power of the Nintendo Switch 2. Trying to like guess at it with a 2050 mobile and how it couldn't even run the Matrix demo, even though there's rumors that Switch 2 was running the Matrix demo. But then there's this video here. And I want to draw attention to it because it's from an actual game developer, and this all ties back into PH Brazil in a moment. It's this video over here by Sungrad Studios, who is an indie studio developer who has made games for 3DS, Wii U, and Nintendo Switch. And we're not going to focus on the fact that some people don't like some of this guy's ideologies in life and his personal opinions. He does throw something in there towards the end, advertising a video. I don't really care about any of that stuff. What I care about is good video games. And the fact that this is an actual game developer who does real analysis of Mario Kart 9. And what I like about this analysis is that he gives a lot of technical details about Mario Kart 9 that Digital Foundry didn't catch. Example, all this fog and dust up and all this stuff in the background, yeah, it's volumetric lighting. Something that we didn't see a lot of in Nintendo Switch games because volumetric lighting is extremely it costs a lot of money. You also notice things about light bouncing off of surfaces and back on to characters' faces. You notice that with Mario during the footage. That is something that doesn't really truly happen in most games because that's real-time lighting, not necessarily ray tracing, but real-time lighting and shadows. Doesn't have to be ray tracing. He never notes he sees ray tracing, but he does see the volumetric lighting. He does see the reflections of the light bouncing. He does see real-time shadows that are at really, really long draw distances, which is something you just weren't doing on Nintendo Switch. I mean, you can even play games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and clearly see like there's a clear pop-in for all the shadows and all the big details in the game. Can't really discern anything here that looks like there's going to be details popping in. And even though this isn't the greatest quality of footage, he also goes on to note things like the textures are looking really good, the expressiveness of the characters, and just a whole bunch of different things that are costly from a technical perspective on the original Switch, which this is a big deal because a lot of people feel like Mario Kart 9 could be a cross-generation title. And look, just a note on cross-generation, no. Nintendo is a company that believes games sell hardware. They're not making this cross-gen. No matter how much you really want them to, Switch 1 owners, it's not happening. It might not be the most technically impressive game you'll see on launch for Nintendo Switch 2, but it is a game that's going to sell a lot of Nintendo Switch 2s. So I guess got to keep that in perspective. You guys already have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You're good, right? So that's really cool. But then we had this other video. And this other video comes from PH Brazil, the aforementioned insider that we were talking about before. He put it out in English and in Portuguese. And as we go over here, this is his video. His face will pop up here in a moment. And he doesn't really focus on Mario Kart 9. No, because he's an insider. You know what PH Brazil is talking about in this video? Let's not talk about tech specs with Switch 2, because that's not a good indicator of anything, because we can't compare tech specs directly between generations of different type of bespoke hardware. You know, the PlayStation hardware is not the same as the Nintendo Switch hardware, let alone the Switch 2 hardware, let alone the Xbox hardware, let alone the Steam Deck. They're all using like different stuff. So why does he think, and look at the title of this video, how powerful the Switch 2 really is. Let me just back out here. How powerful the Switch 2 really is. Why does he think it's so powerful? Well, because he has talked to all these third-party companies, and while he's not guaranteeing that we're going to get full AAA support and all of that 5-6 years from now, what he is saying is that all the third-party AAAs that he has talked to are committed to this platform. They are committed to putting their latest and greatest games on Nintendo Switch 2. And to him, that is the greatest indicator that Nintendo Switch 2 is powerful enough. It is exactly what it needs to be to get that major AAA third-party support. Now, obviously, we have to see the games, and we have to see them perform, and we have to see what they look like compared to other versions, and this is a lot we don't know, but this goes along with the source I had that told me about the 16th last week, and they work at a AAA publisher, and I've heard from them about all of these different games that are being committed, both from the past and future games not even announced for Nintendo Switch 2. So this falls in line with what I heard. It falls in line with what Paul Gale Network has heard, and many others, about this idea that, look, we could debate about the specs and talk about tech analysis all we want, but in the end, what gives away that it's powerful enough to do what it needs to do is that it's going to be getting all this kind of AAA support that Nintendo Switch wasn't getting. So I find that to just be maybe a really, really good point. Now, we get to this last part of the video. I talked about how there's a game coming to Nintendo Switch that might excite some people, and we hear about it from PH Brazil because he's been on this thing that, hey, we're getting a Direct next month, and he now thinks it's going to be a general Nintendo Direct, but dedicated to Switch 1. This is where we expect to hear things like the rumored, Kirby Planet Robobot HD and stuff like that. We expect to be there. But how about this? How about a brand new game from Nintendo that isn't a port or remaster or HD version? The final big game that supposedly Nintendo's going to be putting out. Obviously, we know about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We know about Legends EA. But from Nintendo themselves, not the Pokemon Company, but from Nintendo, they have one more card up their sleeve for a brand new not port or remaster for Nintendo Switch. This is according to PH Brazil. We're over here because, Family Boards, lockdown, all that different stuff. So PH Brazil says Switch will get one final big Nintendo game from a beloved but somewhat niche franchise. It's not a remaster. This comes from the podcast that he runs, the OX podcast number 55. It's in Portuguese, hence why it's kind of not, it's harder for me to parse through it. But he clarifies in a post on Family Boards what he's talking about, and that it's literally it's a brand new game from a somewhat niche franchise, not a remaster, and it's published by Nintendo. He's also reiterating that there will most likely be a general Switch Direct in February. No longer, he was thinking maybe partner showcase, but now he knows about this getting shown. He's saying, it's got to be a general Nintendo Direct. So you see people guessing like Hamtaro. You're seeing Kid Icarus get brought up. Because again, it's kind of weird because it's a somewhat niche, but it's beloved. So it's a franchise. It's a franchise Nintendo has that is beloved, but we don't get stuff from very often. So Kid Icarus could fit the bill, but he says a new game, so that wouldn't be like Kid Icarus Uprising. That would just be a new Kid Icarus game. I see people hoping for Golden Sun. Nintendo does have some rights with Golden Sun. We come down here, Rhythm Heaven. That's another well-known Nintendo IP. We haven't got a new one from for a long time. But this leads to a lot of speculation. F-Zero, obviously F-Zero 99. People hoping that means a new F-Zero game is going to come. And hey, a new F-Zero for Switch 1. We're getting a Mario Kart 9X, whatever the hell they call this thing, on Nintendo Switch 2 would be quite wild. But hey, whatever. Give Switch 1 people some new ones. People are hoping for Star Fox, of course. Mother 4, which, okay. That's probably the least likely I've seen. People talk about the rumored Fire Emblem 4 remake, but he says it's a new game, so that's a remake, not a new one. Custom Robo, some people hoping for, maybe a Tamagotchi Life 2, Chibi Robo, Wario Land 5, and I don't think Fire Emblem is really niche at this point. I think it consistently get games, so I don't think that would be there. Lots of Golden Sun. So just as you go through this, new Advance Wars would be kind of cool. Although the last one had a very awkward re-release of old games, it would be neat to see a brand new one. So yeah, lots of hopium. And, I kind of throw out there that I don't know if this is a niche franchise anymore. Like, is it niche? We haven't had a new one in a long time. What if it's just Donkey Kong? Like, I know Donkey Kong's not a niche character, but like the Donkey Kong franchise hasn't had a new game since Tropical Freeze back on Wii U. And really, if you think about like it had Tropical Freeze and Returns, and that's been it for like 20 plus years. Donkey Kong just doesn't get a lot of games. So if Donkey Kong doesn't get regular releases and it's really just a new Donkey Kong game, that would be niche. It would also fit rumors we've had about a new Donkey Kong game in development for Switch. So I'm going to throw Donkey Kong in there. I know some people might not feel like that's niche enough, but it is a beloved, and it is something we don't get very often, which to me makes it feel niche. It also doesn't sell as well as like mainline Mario games do. So I kind of feel like a new Donkey Kong Country style game that's like side-scrolling or maybe it's 3D, who knows? But yeah, I kind of feel like I'm going to throw that hat in the ring. I'm curious what you guys are going to throw in the ring down in the comments below, as well as you guys make all of your guesses on what this game could be for that Nintendo Direct next month. Look, I'm so excited for everything right now, guys. There's so much cool stuff happening with Nintendo. Now that Switch 2 is revealed, when we get to February, we start off with the investors meeting on the 4th. Probably have a Nintendo Direct at this point for Switch 1. Then we have the Pokemon Presents at the end of the month. And then, look, March might kind of feel like the calm before the storm, but that storm is literally April 2nd. And then it's just Switch 2 Blowout City all the way to release. So I'm so excited. We are in prime position right now as a community to enjoy all this stuff together. I'm going to keep bringing you the latest and greatest. I even have another video in the works because there's some naysayers out there on Switch 2. Dare we call them haters? It might be a bit of a strong term this time around, but there's a lot of weird things going on. And I want to put that in a video and kind of talk about it. Some people might call it a Nintendo Defense Force video. Call it whatever you want. I just like to call a spade when I see it, right? Anyways, we'll see if that video comes out today or tomorrow. It might be a rainy day video for when news is slow. So, anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I am Nathaniel Robojans from Nintendo Prime. Hopefully I catch you guys all tonight on our live stream. And you know what? Why don't you go ahead and keep gaming, everyone. Peace out. Oh, you're still here? Hi. When I did that peace out thing, it literally in my head went, peace out, A-Town. Oh my God, I'm getting old.